Hi everyone, welcome to another episode of PKM Weekly, so the last one of February. So let's see what's been in store for us from the past week. First up is Obsidian. They've released version 1.12 and that's available to everyone. And that includes the Obsidian CLI, the base's search, image resizing, automatically cleanup of unused images, better copy-paste, and native iOS share sheet. For the CLI, if you want an idea of how you can use it and what it does, just check out this post from Obsidian team and you can get a few ideas of what it can do, how you can use it, and its capabilities. So well worthwhile checking that one out. On top of that, the Obsidian team has also released headless sync. So basically you can sync vaults without using the desktop app. And if you want to see how you can use it and what you need to do, just check out the help documents. And you can see it here, install it, how you can install it, how you log in, how you can sync, and the various different commands that you can run. So some great stuff from the Obsidian team on that one. Greg, he did a bit of an interview with Vin, and there's a deep dive hands-on walkthrough of how Vin uses Obsidian and Cloud Code together. And he uses them as a thinking partner, idea generator, and a personal operating system. So he talks us through the video in how he does it, what he does, and his various different setups. So what's Cloud Code, what is Obsidian, giving access, the thinking tools that you can have, how this relates to OpenClaw, bringing the tools together, how he uses it, and the idea generation. So well worthwhile checking out this video, which is about an hour long, of how you can possibly take some things out of it to integrate Cloud Code and Obsidian to run your life. A couple of interesting Reddit posts this week. One was I started using Sync Thing with Obsidian, and it's a game changer compared to Obsidian Sync. So if you're in the same boat, definitely worthwhile checking this one out. 75 comments of other people's as well finding similar things, but basically it's just using Sync Thing as opposed to Obsidian Sync, so that you can have a more, according to OP, a better syncing experience. So well worthwhile having a look at that one. And another one was setting up a home page in Obsidian, and you've got the report here of how it looks and the various different things that OP's put in, the modules and the various different sections of what they're using and why, just to give you some ideas of what you can also implement within your Obsidian space. So that was that for Obsidian. Thymer, Wim posted an IDE for notes, but it's actually becoming his IDE. So he posted a quick tweet on this one, and what we can see here is you've got Thymer in the foreground, cursor I think it is in the background, and basically it's just using the CLI MCP integration with Thymer and code, so that you can then set up various different things and have the code running in the background. So that's a great thing that I like, and it just goes to show the integration possibilities. Next up was a comment of core versus plugins. So the comment was, I'm really looking forward to Thymer because it seemed like it was going to be perfect, but with all the testers fixing everything in their particular spec, it seems to be an Obsidian clone and an overloaded mess. And that generated some discussion in terms of batteries included versus not, core versus plugins. So basically, what's going to be core, what's a plugin, how are the devs going to manage that, which is something that Obsidian came across as well a couple of years ago when they were going down that path of plugins. What's a perfect app, and the ability to use the app without a paid core. So all of these things generated some discussions in terms of what the route that Thymer should take. But I think one of the good things is that, yes, there are a lot of plugins for now, that people are implementing things that they want, but once the app is out for beta and the desktop app, mobile app, etc. have been released, I am sure the devs will spend some more time implementing some of the features and increasing that. So just something to keep in mind, that is still in alpha for the time being, and there's still a long way to go in terms of the app. Capacities, they've released version 1.58.71, and that includes new Capacities documents. So they've launched a revamped and cleaner layout in terms of the documents. So you can check out here, learn to think in objects, tutorials, references, FAQs, and developer, and some videos. So you can definitely check out this workspace for the documents and seeing if there's anything, if you ever have queries, that hopefully it will answer. Behavioral change, the small card view customization. So they've added the object type via the object menu has been removed. The setting is now available in the object type settings, which can be quickly accessed. So they've just adjusted the card view type, and they're considering bringing an option for queries in the future so that the card view can be customized on a per query base, but that's maybe in the mid to long term rather than something immediate. And then just another improvement, they've the command palette now, the object types are ranked better and filters for object types match more. And then sorry, one last thing with capacities is that they're looking for feedback in how would you explain capacities to friends at a party. So if you have come across that, or if you have an idea of how you would describe it, just check out the Discord, and there's a thread that they've put in of how would you explain capacities or describe capacities to friends at a party. So well worthwhile giving your opinion if you have any ideas. Tana, week 3 of the MCP competition winner. So Kavya, she built a system that lets you use agents, pass through the auth gates in browser and interact with your logged in content. So what it is basically a resource traversal MCP, a bridge that gives your AI copilot your digital keys and eyes. So instead of fighting with restricted, non-existent APIs, it uses native Chromium stealth architecture. No idea what some of these things are, so do check it out before you do anything. But basically, what I've got and what I've understood, what it allows you to do is, rather than you navigating, AI can read what's in front of you, and then AI reads it and does whatever it needs to do. You can have one area and let it go through the browser, so it can look at shared files, the Gemini chat, the Tana space, Google Documents, Slack threads, etc., and use the resource transversal MCP in a proactive way to basically have a lot more access and gain a lot more information whilst using AI. So some great stuff on that one, and do check it out in terms of what she's created here, in terms of trying it out, the description in a lot better way than I could explain it, what it can do, what it can't do, and some of the other things that she's got planned. So well worthwhile having a look at that one. And talking of Tana, AI and MCP, there's another round of community drop-ins this week. So last week was quite successful, and now they've got another one coming up on Tuesday and Thursday. So check out the Luma link for the date and time that it is in your time zone and what they've got planned. And no prep required, just show up and dive in. And if you can't make them, also remember that there's devs drop-in sessions, which continue to run. So again, check out the Luma link for details on timing. Logseq, they've got a PR with sandbox code agents. It does seem that it's going to be limited to the devs only in terms of the back end, if you will, but it basically adds infrastructure for running AI coding agents inside isolated sandboxes. So you can see here the PR, notice it's mainly for Logseq team to use Logseq to develop Logseq, but who knows that if it's successful and it's worthwhile, that the team won't implement it for Logseq in general. So worthwhile keeping an eye on that one if you are inclined to integrate AI more and more with your notes and your space. Octarine, they've released version 0.37, so that's out now. Different views, custom AI providers, and default new folder. And if you want to check it out, definitely worthwhile checking out the changelog, because you can see here what it means, what you can click, how you can implement them, and what the actual changes are. And it goes into detail, custom AI providers, so you can set your own API key and things, and the default new folder, so you can then play around with that. So some great stuff coming to Octarine week in, week out. So great stuff on that one, Sajat. Thank you. Noteey, they've released YouTube video note taker within Noteey. And what it is, a new feature, so timestamped links when you take notes. So you can have the YouTube video on the side, taking notes on the right-hand side, which are time marked and time stamped, so that then when you click on it, it will go immediately back to that timestamp in the video. So great stuff from the Noteey team. Heptabase, they've released the Zettlr integration, so you can now connect your Zettlr account to sync specific collections within your Heptabase space. So easiest way, just have a quick look here. Integration with Zettlr, have to link it, give access. Select which collections you want to sync. So it's going to select a few of them, and then you can see in the background they're going to appear quite quickly once it's downloaded. And then you can see what's been imported in terms of your Zettlr space collection, and that goes directly into Heptabase. So some good stuff on that one. And if you want some more information, definitely worthwhile checking out the help document that they've set up with frequent questions and answers that hopefully will help you out to get the most out of it. Griply, they've got a new walkthrough showing how to use Griply as a full daily planner for both work and life. So well worthwhile checking out. Goal-driven tasks that move you forward, project work tasks, operational life, so what you can do, how you can get the most out of processing your inbox, weekly planning, using tags, and the quick capture. So it's quite a quick video, 5 minute long, or under 5 minutes, so you can see how you can use Griply to hopefully get the most out of it. Zettlr, they've released 4.2.0, 3 distinct updates, new features for the preview mode, block quotes now will render in a vertical bar instead of an italicized font, pandoc divs and spans, and various different other things. Bug fixes and new language improvements, as well as a bug fix which was introduced by the recent Zettlr 8 update. So all of that should be fixed and ready to go. And then last but not least, a bit of a shameless plug from me. I've always wanted to see my subscriptions and what I was paying for, what I was actually using, and have a little bit more control on what was going on. So with Claude Code and Anti-Gravity, I've been setting up a little bit of a project called SubsTrak. So it basically allows you to add in a subscription. So if we just add in Tana as an example, that'll come up. What's it costing me per month? In which currency? Is it monthly, weekly, annual? The start date, I can add tags, trial period if there's any, early cancellation, if I've already cancelled it or not, and then if I want a reminder. So it basically just allows me to see what I'm paying for, when they're up for renewal, which one's coming up, do I want to keep it, do I want to cancel it, just to have a lot more control on what I'm spending. The subscription page is here, so you can see what's happening, sort them out, sort them by currency, by tasks, tags, and etc. Have a calendar view of the same, so what am I paying when, just to see again, have a little bit more control over what's happening in terms of subscriptions, because it seems that of late, after COVID, everything has become a subscription, and it's just racking up one after the other. So I built this to hopefully, make my life easier, but hopefully it will also make yours. So if you're interested, definitely check it out, SubsTrak.io for more information. So thank you very much for being here, and I shall see you next week. Thanks for watching. Bye.